We are not in the studio right now. Let's go to the studio. Don't be being nosy. Don't be being nosy, y'all. Don't be being nosy. Not be trying to hide with my shoulders like. Don't be being nosy. Let me just put you like that. We'll just carry you like that. We gotta go over to the studio. You know, here, beware. I be having the challenges sometimes. I be these YouTube streets on my tablet. I don't know what it be, but it be challenging sometimes where it don't wanna work. Y'all all in my chin. She got a meaty chin. I got 10 minutes for the show starts, so I did heat up a snack. And I don't know. My spirit just told me try now instead of waiting until at 3 o'clock. Try now. So I listened to my spirit. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Here we are, working. Now this thing, little thing keeps popping up on here. Anyway, put this where it goes. Hey, we in the studio. We in the studio. We in the studio. And I will be right back. Sorry I don't have no music for you guys, but I'll be right back with my chicken. We're gonna get into the seat of the soul and have us a good soulful Sunday. I shall return with my snack and my telephone because my telephone's gonna transmit the YouTube, not the YouTube, the TikTok. Ooh, so good. Yes, it's good. All the way. Oh, in the heck of the yes, baby. Baby, 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 baby. Come on now. So, I have been doing a couple of things. Culinary, right? And I'm always doing culinary stuff. But I wanted to really, I wanted to perfect my fried chicken. I want to perfect it, like get it down to a science. Cause I was doing it, basic. I was doing basic stuff, And I was like, I wanna perfect it. And I have perfected it, people. Hmm. I'm gonna tell y'all how I perfected it. Brining it, soaking it overnight. You can soak it overnight. You can soak it for a couple of days. The longer you soak it, the more that seasoning is gonna soak in. And when I tell you that seasoning soak in, I thought Mama was exaggerating. I watched the Southern lady do it, and let's get TikTok pulled up. That Southern lady, I got 5 minutes. That Southern lady, she brines it. She soak it for overnight, you know? And I was like, she season it and soak it overnight. She don't just soak it overnight. She season it and soak it overnight. So I put on my seasonings and added some water and just let it just chillax. And I don't know, it was longer than overnight. Overnight is like maybe what, 6, 8 hours. It was longer than that before I decided to fry it. Because I put it in actually first thing Friday morning, and then I didn't fry it until yesterday. Was it yesterday? It was yesterday. So Saturday night. So it was in there over 24 hours. Woo! Ooh! I got crumbs still on my lip. Now my first batch, I was too eager. I was like, "Ooh, 10 minutes is long enough for my grease to be hot." I put the little flour in there, and I was just good. I was just like, "Oh, I'm good," you know. So flour did this little fizzle thingy. I was not good. It was too early. And if you put in chicken before the grease is hot, all that good old batter, mm, go slide right off. Excuse me as I put my phone out. That good old batter go slide right on off. Welcome to the SupaTea podcast show. I have already started on YouTube. I'm talking about my chicken I perfected. So the first batch I put in there, you're going to have to watch the replay on YouTube to catch up. The first batch, the grease wasn't hot. But the second batch, the grease was hot and all that batter stuck to my motherfucking chicken. And so she do a wet batter and she do a dry batter. And she dip it in the wet first and then she dip it in the dry and the batters are seasoned too. So I ain't mind batter popping off, okay? This is some of the batter right here. It's a treat. Not an every week type of thing. It's a treat. But baby, I have perfected my fried chicken. Popeyes, KFC, the local chicken spot in the hood. Ain't got nothing on me. Nah, nothing. Not enough. Now just bear with me while I enjoy my snack. I had a day today, people. Good day. I exercised a lot. A whole lot. So that's good. Getting those muscles together. Ligaments, all that good stuff. And then, I had some free time because I did some housework already. I was like, let me go and take care of some lab work. I'm gonna have to catch the vlogs on YouTube about that. I ain't gonna talk about it no more. As soon as I finish this chicken, we gonna jump right in to our Soulful Sunday book. So good. I don't ever remember season to the bone. I think it even got into the bone marrow this season. Promise you. My taste buds just having a whole party. Mm-hmm. Mm. And speaking of bone marrow, it's something my cousin started me on. I don't know who else do this, but I eat the marrow out of the bone. Especially if it's seasoned good like that. Like how it is. And it's cooked real good too. I surely do. Look at all that good old marrow right there. That's good marrow right there. Mm-hmm. That marrow good. I only eat chicken like this in the house, people. I know you're like, well, you eating it on public TV right now. Not technically public TV. But I am eating it in public right now. But outside of the restaurant now. Improper. I eat different. At a restaurant then, but I eat at home. You know? This is technically home. It is seasoned to the marrow. Now we know bones got pores in it. How does seasoning go away up from there? How does seasoning get all the way up in the marrow? Y'all know? But it's up in there. It's up in there. That marrow got seasoning in there. And it wasn't like it baked, but that's from browning. I think I'm gonna brown my chicken every motherfucking time now. Fuck just seasoning it well and putting it in the oven or seasoning it well and frying it up. I have to season it well and let it soak so it could just go beyond the surface. All right, we gotta get started today. Ooh, that was good, baby. Let's mirror this up here. I don't know how to mirror down in the YouTube world. So y'all just gonna have to see it backwards there. But in TikTok land, you can see the title of the book, Seed of the Soul. We are now on chapter 12, Souls. Every time, people, you know this is unscripted podcast show. And every freaking time it be something relevant to what I have experienced or what I'm about to experience. So, souls. Ooh-wee. I've been having some soulful interactions. Very interesting soulful interactions. If you want to know more, you got to catch my vlogs on YouTube. But, baby, babe of the bees. I'm just going to jump right in. Alright. Chapter 12, Souls. Each human being has a soul. The journey towards individual soulhood is what distinguishes the human kingdom from the animal kingdom, the vegetable kingdom, and the mineral kingdom. Only the human kingdom has the experience of individual soulhood. This is why its powers of creation are great. The soul process moves through degrees of awareness. Animals, for example, do not have individual souls. They have group souls. Each animal is a part of a group soul. Each horse is a part of the group soul of a horse. Each cat is a part of the group soul of cat, and so on. A group soul is not the same as an individual soul. Consider, for example, the group soul of buffalo. There's one group soul of enormous impersonal energy that is called buffalo. It is an enormous, expansive sphere of impersonal energy that, is buffalo consciousness. It exists at a level of simply energy dynamics, not individual selfhood. That energy is in continual movement. As it heightens in frequency, it can spill over into the next level, and it can also absorb other frequencies from a lower level. So the soul continues. It is a group soul, not individual. There are not individual buffalo souls within a whole. There is only one soul energy system wherein there is no individualhood. Instinctual behavior is the way of the group soul. Picture of movement that looks like the mouth of the Mississippi River. As you walk up the river from that place, the river grows more and more narrow until it reaches but a point of power. The open mouth area is analogous to the group soul. I hope I said that word correctly. The size of it, the collective nature of it, is the group soul. This is the nature of the souls in the mineral, vegetable, and animal kingdoms. In other words, cat is a cat soul, dolphin is a dolphin soul, and so on. Within the animal kingdom, there are graduations of intelligence and awareness. For example, dolphin, horse, and dog are not on the same wavelength. The consciousness of the dolphin is closer to the consciousness of the ape, and then closer to the consciousness of the dog, but the consciousness of the horse is on a level beneath them. It is possible that the human soul can be produced through the evolution of the animal kingdom as a collective energy from the animal soul. How does that happen? The dolphin soul, for example, evolves through each particular individual dolphin. The particular advancements of each particular dolphin advances the soul of the dolphin itself. The collective is enhanced by the accomplishments of the individual dolphin. The same mechanism works within the human kingdom. With each of our individual and vast advancements, the group soul of humanity, what we call our collective unconscious, evolves. In this way, evolution continues within the dolphin species as within all species. Let us say arbitrarily, I know I did that one right, that the consciousness of the dog soul is 20 percentile points below that of the dolphin soul, 20 points less than the intelligence of the dolphin soul. If the group soul of the dog produces highlight consciousness, it is possible for that consciousness to release itself from the group soul of dog and advance into and penetrate the consciousness of dolphin. Likewise, it is possible, and it does happen, that human being souls come from the advanced soul energy of the dolphin soul or the ape soul and begin their process of evolution into the human soul. Unlike an animal, you have an individual soul. You are an individual energy system, a micro of a macro. As a part of the micro, you have all the power of the macro calibrated to an individual form of certain energies. Animals are not micros of a macro. Cats, for example, do not have individual soul or ego energy. They're merely physical manifestations of a huge macro system. That certain cats are scared and certain are comforted is merely the different, numerous millions of frequencies that interact into the group cat soul. Animals do not evolve through responsible choice as we do. Rather, the frequency of their consciousness becomes lightened in the fullness of the evolution of their soul as a group. This does not mean that animals are not capable of individual acts of love. What of an animal that lays down its life for its human? That is as legitimate a sacrifice of love of life as it is for a human, because in that instant, the animal realizes that it is willingly releasing its life. That for an animal is graduation to the human experience or to its next higher level. The nature of a group soul can be seen through its manifestation. The nature of dolphin soul, for example, is expressed through dolphins. The same is true for our species. The nature of the soul of humankind can be seen through the nature of human beings. The dolphin soul is leaving the earth. That is, the dolphin species is becoming extinct. The dolphins are beaching themselves. They are creating diseases within themselves. This is their way of refusing to continue to live upon the earth. They feel that they cannot fulfill the purpose for which they are born. Therefore, they are leaving. Their deaths are not suicides because they're not frightened, they are exhausted. I'm going to stop right there. That's very interesting. Now, you are aware that this book is from the 90s. And we're 2025, and I don't know the comparison in regards to the population of dolphins, but we still do have dolphins. And just my personal perception and opinion on just them is that their exhaustion is coming from the impurities that's in the water. You know what I mean? Like they have to process those things and evolve with all of the chemical and oil spills and things of that sort that humans have been dumping into the ocean. So that could be part of their exhaustion, you know? But I feel from the 90s to now that we have been a bit more conscious about our actions with our environment, and not to say that we have stopped putting toxic things into the oceans, but we are aware of the connection for sure. So some of us are more responsible in not doing that. You know, some don't care, but a lot do care. So kudos for the environmentalists who are not dumping mess into our oceans and who are finding other ways to dispose of trash. Let me get back to the book though. That was just a little sidebar. Okay, the dolphin soul manifests itself. Dolphins are bored. I gotta talk louder than the sirens. Okay, they have passed. Sorry about that. The dolphin soul manifests itself. Dolphins are born to bring love and life and creativity to the oceans. They manifest to form a bridge of joy and love and intelligence between the aquatic kingdom and the human kingdom. This they cannot do. Our species reaches towards the dolphin soul only with brutality. That's what we were doing back in the 90s. The dolphin spirit, how it suffers. This is a time of great sorrow. It is a time to look soberly and deeply upon the values and behaviors that result from the perception of power as external. It is time to grieve with the dolphin soul to offer comfort to it. If you wish to offer comfort to the dolphin soul, image from the heart of the dolphin consciousness that your energies are moving below deep, warm, clear, soothing water. As you feel yourself emerging into the aquatic kingdom, let yourself begin to radiate your thoughts to these fellow creatures that share our planetary home, the earth. Imagine that you are sending them love as they continue their evolution and leave the earth school. That you grieve with them, and yet you know that, like you, they are immortal. Send these thoughts. Let them know they are not leaving without human beings' understanding. Let them hear you say, I am one who understands. Can you do that? It will make their grieving journey of value. There is more than one avenue from which individual souls are formed. Part of the chain of evolution within our global village is the process of this advancement from kingdom to kingdom to kingdom. But if a soul that has not been before upon our planet chooses the human experience, it would not be necessary for that soul to move through kingdom evolution. It would indeed pick up the situation within the physical environment that is most appropriate for it. There are souls that have never had the human experience. When we speak of souls entering the physical arena to heal, to balance their energy, to pay their karmic debts, we are speaking of the evolution of life as we know it upon our earth. We're not speaking of other galaxies or of life on other levels that are not physical as we know them. The experience of physicalness is not always necessary to certain advances. If it is, it's encouraged. There comes a point when the physicalness experience no longer serves the soul's awareness, and therefore the soul chooses to learn in the non physical realm. It may choose to learn, for example, through the task of becoming a non physical guide. Each individual human soul is a micro of the macro. That is the soul of the human species. But the soul of humankind is not a micro of a macro. In other words, there is no larger spiritual human soul beyond the soul of humanity. Beyond that comes the experience of master, the experience of moving into advanced levels of light that is no longer specific to human. Our non physical teachers are from these levels of light. Therefore, it is not appropriate to consider them from the dynamic of the personal. Rather, it is more appropriate to think of them as impersonal consciousness, which is that which they are, from realms that cannot be understood in human terms. They do not, for example, have the splintered personality aspects that we have. They do not have shadow sides, so to speak. Does an angel have a soul? An angel is its soul, its full soul. There is That is the difference between that which is whole and in union and that which is growing into it. Duality only exists in certain levels and not in others. Duality is a dynamic of learning. It is a rhythm and tension and does not exist beyond another level of learning and development. You are existing in duality and your non-physical teachers are not. This is not their home, so to speak. They are teachers to our plane. They are free to teach in our plane without being of our plane. Your non physical teacher does not become of this plane when it counsels you any more than a parent becomes an infant in order to teach its infant. It is not necessary. That level of evolution is assumed in the presence of the parent. It is simply the natural dynamic of evolution. We are destined to evolve beyond the nature of duality. Duality is that which is understood in time and space. As you evolve beyond that, and also when you leave your physical body and journey home to your non physical plane of reality, you will not exist in dualism. And that sense of the wrathful or sorrowful or fearful self that you think of as present to you now will evaporate. It has no power in the realm beyond duality, where there exists the perfection of all that is. When you leave your physical form, you will join the non physical level of reality that is appropriate to your vibrational frequency at the time that you leave your incarnation. Where do advanced human souls go? There are many forms of life that exist as advancements of this one. There are literally millions of options. There is life in numerous galaxies. There are millions, indeed billions, of other life-filled planets. There is not one planet that lacks a level of active consciousness, some of which is akin to our human form, and some of which does not come close to our form, but remains consciousness as we understand the term. There exists a realm that the religious language of the West would call the angelic kingdom. This is a range of beings of numerous frequencies and qualities of consciousness, many of whom guide and interact with us upon the earth. This realm is indeed balanced with other forces, but it cannot be understood in human terms. Evolution continues in that realm. Although there is that perception that our words' harmony and perfectness would address, an angel might be thought of as a force of consciousness that has evolved into an appropriate teaching modality for the planetary village called Earth, but may also have been a part of the evolution of other galaxies and life forms there. An angel's home, so to speak, is that kingdom, the angelic kingdom, and the range of non physical life forms that exist within and lower than and beyond that vibrational sphere. Angels continue evolution as do other members this of that realm, as do those consciousnesses that we would recognize as masters, such as those after whom religions have named upon our earth. That evolution continues, but there is perfectedness rather than the experience of fusing consciousness with matter that occurs within our earth school. Does the law of karma apply to non physical beings? The law of karma is universal in the sense that there is not a life form that is not responsible for its energy. But karma cannot be understood in terms of non physical dimensions in the same way that we understand it. An angel does not have the barriers that we have. An angel sees something, for example, and we do not. The difference is a barrier. An angel does not have our barriers. And so it cannot create the karma that we do. It has a level of sight and knowledge that prevents certain actions from happening simply because of the depth of knowingness that is of its rank in creation. The great law of karma works because an angel still has will. But an angel is armed with a great deal more than the limitation that characterizes the human experience. An angel does not fear death. It has no physicalness. It is only that it is immortal. It is with all that is. It has no doubt. It sees and lives in light. So the ingredients that create karma for the human experience are not part of its personal reality. Although an angel has will, the circumstances cannot be described in which that will might bend in the wrong way. If there was such a thing, or in a negative way in one sense, an angel can be considered to have evolved beyond the need to be tested, and therefore for it there is no karma. Other levels also exist, such as the level in which disincarnate spirits are bound close to their physicalness in the immediate environment of the earth arena. These spirits do not pursue the journey back to their higher selves, but remain bound with their non physical individual states close to the earth. Imagine that your personality, your characteristics, and part of your non physical self wish to remain intact and not proceed on its evolution. The process of the soul discharging the aspects of personality does not happen. A combustion and congestion occurs within the energy system. Usually, this happens when a soul cannot accept that it must move on and release a particular incarnation. In some instances, a soul holds on to a personality because that personality was particularly successful or powerful in its lifetime. The congestion in the process of evolution that occurs produces the phenomena that we refer to as evil spirits, ghosts, or possessions. These spirits choose to remain earthbound within the earth's auric field. Are they evil? They are negative, yes, but evil is another issue. Do they encourage negativity? Yes, but that is part of the law of attraction. Their own energy is drawn to like forces of energy or like forces of weakness. Within this realm, these spirits can create additional negative karma by pursuing malevolence. Therefore, it is possible to speak of evolving beyond karma as the Buddhists do. They're referring to the karma of the earth, where there's always this circumstance of choice between how you want to learn. Which path shall you choose? The Buddhas refer to the earth, to the human experience, and how it is set up, which is with free will, choice, placed between faith and doubt, good and evil, between the choices and dualisms that our species have created. It is that karma that they are referring to, not the karmic patterns that cease to be once you, as a soul, no longer require learning in the world of duality. Even though angels have will, they do not accumulate karma as we think of it. It is not part of their dimension, yet they have will. The law of karma, as we understand it, the law of karma for physical matter and spirit, not for spirit. Many realms that are non physical are not angelic. In addition to the realm of incarnate human beings that are bound close to the earth, for example, there is the deviant community of our nature kingdoms. There are numerous realms of non physical life. Beyond the angelic realms are realms upon realms of intelligence that we would think of as God. Within the human species, there exist degrees of soul consciousness. Not all humans are equally aware of their souls. Therefore, do all human beings have equal potential? Yes and no. The question is complex. It cannot be answered simply because among souls that are on the same frequency band, such as those within the Earth School, there is a common quality of consciousness, yet there is a difference between their ranges of consciousness. This is why my behind be always getting in trouble, folks, because my consciousness be somewhere where it belongs, where it has evolved to, and other people's consciousness be elsewhere. And I be wondering, like, why I'm speaking English and they not understanding, but it's because of their level of consciousness. And the more I am aware of it, and I'm reminded through my non-physical teachers, the more compassion I have, and I'm just like, okay, it's all right. I get it, and I do my very best to communicate in a way that is effective. I know it's just not simply forming words that is common to humanity or to English speakers like myself, but I also have to sometimes just bring my vibration, to a certain level if I'm looking to communicate with individuals effectively. For example, um, there's a older elder in a community where I go to school at, and at one point we were working together. We're no longer working together. I have decided that I'm going to support the big picture without my name, without a title. And it worked out great for that. I didn't necessarily ask for a title. I just wanted to be supportive and ended up with the title. And then we ended up bumping heads quite a bit because of the different level of consciousness. And they couldn't fathom, or they haven't fathomed, that my level of consciousness could possibly be above their level of consciousness. So they mistook a lot of actions that I displayed, which had nothing to do with them. They misinterpreted my boundaries. They misinterpreted me multitasking as a direct form of disrespect to them. It was a lot of miscommunications based on the fact that our consciousness is at different levels. Um, and I had to recognize it and make a decision. Make a decision. Am I going to continue to try to push? Because I can't raise his consciousness. You know what I mean? Or am I going to lower my consciousness constantly? just to communicate effectively. And I decided that I have other things because that's an extra. We were working on an extra curriculum activity. We wasn't working on something that was going to build up our grades. Wasn't working on like a class project, something of that effect. We don't have any classes together. So and we wasn't working like at a job together, like a paid job. So I had to take all of that into consideration and speak with other intelligent folks and come up with and make a decision. Am I going to continue to directly interact with this person um, in that capacity? And I decided no, because it requires a lot of energy. When you are of a certain consciousness and you're communicating with others who are not of that consciousness, again, you could be speaking the same language as they speak, but they do not perceive what you're saying because in their mind, their perception, their consciousness is somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm aware. I'm aware, and it's interesting that this book, as always, and even though it was written what 20 something years ago, it's interesting how it is timeless in the way it describes things and it breaks down things because these complexities are a part of reality, you know. And people may not be aware, but just because you're not aware of something doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, you know. So those of us whose consciousness may be elevated and compared to um, the people that we interact with, you know, we have a greater responsibility. You know, we have a greater responsibility. And I had to really ask for forgiveness several times because it was like, because of my level of consciousness, I already know what the challenges is, you know, for that individual and how they have battled, you know, with substance abuse and how they have just had a lot of different challenges in their life, things that they haven't healed from, resolved. You know, there's still resentment, even though there's a lot of love between them and their mother. They still resent their mother for whatever reasons. I don't know whether the mother was abusive to them. I feel the mother probably was abusive to them, verbally, probably even physically. You know, and they haven't been able to say, you know what, that was abusive. And you may never say sorry to me for abusing me. And I know that you didn't abuse me because you didn't love me. I know you felt like that was the best thing to do to keep me safe, but it has affected me. And I'm ready to grow and I'm ready to heal from that space. So I love you, I forgive you, but you cannot speak to me any type of way in any type of tone. I am an adult. And even though you are my mother, you have to respect me when you speak to me. And if there's something I'm doing that you don't agree with, then you have to come at me still in a respectful tone because I am an adult and this is the boundary that I'm setting for myself. And I forgive you for whatever I experienced with you from the past. You know, like they have to have that conversation with their mother. You know, they can't just feel the hurt and carry that pain because it has caused them to take it out on individuals that have nothing to do with it just because an individual remind them of their mother. And I was the individual that reminded them of their mother. So I was the individual, not only were they misperceiving things that I was doing that had nothing to do with them, they also was reacting towards me because of the resentment they have towards their mom because I have similarities. I haven't been abusive to this person. Obviously, I don't know them like that, and we don't interact anywhere outside of that small interaction we had at the school, you know. So there was not even opportunity for me to be abusive towards them verbally or physically. However, I have a strong personality, and my the strength of my personality is felt. I don't have to be loud in order for it to be felt. And when they felt that familiarity, it was like, oh, she remind me of my mother. But it wasn't something that they were able to articulate until we had a third party come in and basically be like a, what do they call a person when they come in and they're like in the middle? Negotiator? I don't think negotiator is the word. I can't think of the word. Um, Arbitrator? Not arbitrator, that's not the word either. It's a word. Mediator. We had to have a third party mediate, and the third party, very, very intelligent third party, and they mediated, the situation. And I, again, had the opportunity to listen and hear everything and recognize, oh, okay, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, I don't know whether they personally heard what I said and what I reflected back to them, and which was basically, listen, my personality has nothing to do with you, and my actions have nothing to do with you. However, I can feel that. I don't even know how to describe it, but I can feel the type of energy that you carry within you, and that particular energy doesn't mix well in close vicinity to me. And so that's why I back away and I stay away, and I've been doing my best, however, to communicate effectively so to accomplish the things that we are here to accomplish, Um, and hopefully they heard that. I did also acknowledge the fact that I am hypervigilant. And I think more so than anything, the mediator needed to hear those aspects of me, because a lot of people, the mediator, again, the same scenario, not same scenario, because the mediator's energy, I don't feel that same type of discord within. The mediator's energy is very calming, and it's strong, but it's calming and strong. It's almost like, relax for a bit, and that's how I feel next to the mediator. But I think the mediator didn't, we only interact inside of that arena. So because we only interact inside of that particular arena, they didn't have a full concept of me. They're just like, okay, she come in here, she be smiling, sometimes she gets voluminous. Sometimes I'm loud, and even when I'm not loud, my energy is loud sometimes. Since I'll be quiet, like my energy be like. So, but I think they have a better concept that I'm not trying to cause conflict. It's not like I'm purposely, because some women do be. Some women be like sitting at home and just be like, what can I do to get up underneath this person's skin? Not me. I am I'm just navigating. I'm literally just navigating in life, learning new things, applying the knowledge that I'm learning. And I do have a strong personality. However, I've had no choice. I've had no other option, no other choice but to develop this, through burying my child, through foster care, through battling systems, like not just a school fight. I had plenty of those school fights, growing up in the neighborhoods I grew up in. But I'm not talking about like one-on-one. I'm talking about people that have lawyers and attorneys that are part of freaking structural systems, And I've had to stand and battle those things, and there was no one that was like supporting me. It wasn't like, okay, I didn't went to this courthouse and I done stood up and I done told the truth and I defended my child, and somebody, I came home and somebody was like, you did such a good job, or even was in the courtroom with me after, like, you did such a good job, you know, it's gonna be all right, just push through. No, I just had to be like, just keep going and keep going and keep going. And eventually, yes, the victory was accomplished. But months of my oldest child being unfairly abused in foster homes because there was no type of support. It was just this one woman standing up saying, listen, you guys are wrong. And they knew they was wrong. And then it wasn't even like I was saying it in a way that was like, um, um, I wasn't saying it in a way that they were used to hearing things. Like, I wasn't emotional about it. I wasn't in there crying. I wasn't in there screaming. I was in there in this tone articulating the fact that they were breaking the law with their codes and their statutes. And they were just looking at me like, Miss Bay, we got your son. They couldn't say that on record, but that's how their actions were. Their actions were as, we got him already. Like, you can say what you want to say. We gonna still, we got him already. Like, it's different if they were trying to get him. They had him, and I had to, and it was just like, I had to on the surface acquiescence to their bullshit. You know, I had to be like, even though they were asking things that they didn't have any standing to act, it was just part of their protocol. Oh, well, you know, when there's a fatality, you know, this is our protocol. We separate because we need to know what happened. And then even once they knew what happened, it was like, oh, well, unless you're going to sue the doctor, we need you to take parenting. Wait. Wait. Unless I sue the doctor, I gotta take parenting. I'm not thinking about a lawsuit right now. I'm thinking about the child that that's still alive, that's been abused. And I'm telling you, they've been abused, and your answer to them being abused is, okay, we're just gonna stick them in another foster home. Let's just stick them in another one. We're gonna stick them in another one. They had a, it was horrendous. That situation was absolutely horrendous. Okay, absolutely horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. The very first one was a kinship of a family member, God rest her lovely soul, but who was mentally unstable, who would not feed him until nighttime because she did was not awake during the daytime. So during the daytime, he was locked in the bedroom. She didn't permit me to come over there, even with groceries. I had to call the cops. And when I called the cops to just bring groceries to the house, the cops was like, why do you have this child over here? And I was like, I didn't know where else. Like, this was the only kinship that I knew of. And I didn't know. And they was like, get this child out of here. The neighbors are always calling us. This person is not stable mentally, yada, yada, yada. I got on it to the agency. They took him out of there. They stuck him somewhere where the lady's husband literally choked him till he passed the fuck out. He let me know. I reported it to the agency. They took him out of that home with all the other children out of that home. Told the lady she had to get that Negro out of her home in order for her to get her the foster kids back, which not mine's, but the other ones, and then put him somewhere else. And then the next one he went into, he was physically, sexually assaulted by an older child in the home, by a 17-year-old. He was what, 11? So, like, come on, all of that, and the court was just like, oh, well, you know, go take a parenting class, because you ain't suing the doctor, so you might as well take a parenting class. And we don't want to listen to the fact that you know the law. Oh my God, you are a threat. We don't want you to be successful, but here I am, and we have both gotten through it, and we are both thriving. And he is in a loving, beautiful relationship with this lovely young lady. And he's had a lot of healing, because that's a lot. And that's only what I am aware of. There was more stuff, I'm sure, that I was not aware of that happened after the fact because, of course, you go through all of that stuff, you come home, there's been no type of services put into place to support us. It's just like, here you go, you got him back. Thank you. Thank you for doing that parenting class. Good luck to you. And several months later, I was dealing with juvenile detentions. And it was the same song and dance, just underneath different titles, you know. And part of that juvenile detention thing that he experienced was uh it was just a lot. It was just a lot. It was just a lot. So for me to, as a mother, as a young mother, I was in my 20s going through all of that after I got out of a domestic violence situation. And there was a few that sprinkled in between there until I was just like, okay, I need to recognize what are the red flags, because it's not like an abuser is like, I'm gonna beat your ass. What's up, baby? Let me beat that ass. I'm gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna manipulate you. I'm gonna hold your money, even though you work for it. Like, or I'm gonna fuck your shit up. You ain't gonna have no friends. Like, they don't come out the box like that. They come out sweet, you know, kind, generous. Just for no reason, but there are flags. There are flags. It's not just how they speak to you. It's how they react to you. It's flags. They have flags. They have flags. And once I realized, oh, hold up, this person, they act the same way as my ex-husband did. Okay, nice, nicety type shit, you know, nice, real nice in front of folks, the whole different behind the scenes. Like, okay, okay, all right. You know, once I realized the patterns, I was able to say, okay, let me just be out of relationships and let me just realize what these patterns are, so that if I see them, I already know. To the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. I already know. I already know. And let me get a deeper relationship with my inner self. And I didn't even know this stuff that this book is describing, or it is things that I went through just intuitively, just through connecting with my soul, just through diving into my spirituality and knowing who I am, and asking for help. And a lot of my help I got has been unseen, you know, unseen teachers and unseen help, and those who have passed over, like Louise Hay. Louise Hay has been a huge, humongous help. Like that Caucasian lady has been such impactful in my life journey that she sits on my altar with my blood ancestors, you know. And then I had ancestors that had crossed over that were available to help, and other ascended masters that had crossed over. So I had no choice but to develop into the strong woman that I am right now, you know. And some men are not comfortable in my strength, but you know, it is never for, I'm never trying to attack them. I'm never trying to attack their ego or emasculate any man. That is not what my strength is about. My strength is just uh, uh, my strength is just my strength, you know. So it's gonna take a strong person, you know, for me to actually join into a sacred union with somebody who is strong enough to be like, that strength is not trying to come at me. You know what I'm saying? That strength is based on her experiences and the fact that she survived these experiences. Guess what? You know, I find it beautiful. I find her beautiful, and I'm gonna keep pushing her forward to reach her highest potential. And when she reaches her highest potential, I'm still there for her. Peace. My thing is about to shut off on TikTok. So you can join me over YouTube, because my YouTube is not going to shut off. But yeah, that's what it is. I'm going to get back into the book. You know, I always got to share some. Every Soulful Sunday, I'm here 3 p.m. sharp. So let's get back to the book. And yes, TikTok is going to just go off by itself, because it's on 3% right now, folks. So anywho, let's continue. Where were we? Oh, within the human species, there exist degrees of soul consciousness. Not all humans are equally aware of their souls. Therefore, do all human beings have equal potential? Yes, they have the potential. And no. And the no part is because if they're not aware, then even though they have the potential, if they're not aware of the fact that they have the potential, then there's no way for them to reach it because they don't have the awareness of it. And that's where consciousness comes into play. The question is complex. It cannot be answered simply because among souls there are on the same frequency band, such as those within the Earth School, there is a common quality of consciousness. Yet there is a difference between the ranges of consciousness. An individual that is not quite as expanded in his or her awareness is not equal in the sense that we usually mean equal to someone of greater awareness. There is an inequality. Yet it is not an inequality that remains unequal. It is just a temporary level of momentum in the flow of evolution. A soul has no beginning and no end. And yet some souls are older than other souls. Both are true. All souls come directly from the Godhead. And yet there is no single way that souls are formed individually. Both are true. Understanding the soul becomes paradoxical only if you apply a type of thinking that holds the notion of beginning. All that is can form itself into individual droplets of consciousness. Because you are part of all that is, you have literally always been. Yet, there was the instant when the individual current that is you was formed. Consider that the ocean is God. It always has been. Now reach in and grab a cup full of water. In that instant, the cup becomes individual. But it has always been, has it not? This is the case with your soul. There was the instant when you became a cup of energy, but it was of an immortal, original being. You have always been because what it is that you are is God or divine intelligence. But God takes on individual forms, droplets, reducing its power to small particles of individual consciousness. It is a massive reduction of power, yet the power is as full in that droplet as it is in the whole. It is as immortal and as creative and as expressive, but in its tinier form, its energy is reduced appropriately to its form. As that little form grows in power and selfhood in its own consciousness of self, it becomes larger and more godlike. Then it becomes God. This is a process that parallels the process of your personality, which is of your soul, expanding into your higher self, and thereby coming into the full power of your soul incarnate. It also parallels the process of your personality and higher self re-entering the fullness of your soul when you leave the earth. As an individual soul, you remain an individual soul. You are both individual and one with all that is. The individual unit of evolution is the soul. This perception is new to us because as a species, we have not before been aware of the existence of the soul. In our religious thoughts, we acknowledge what we call the soul, but we have not until now taken it seriously enough to consider what the existence of the soul means in terms of everyday experience. In terms of the joys and pains and sorrows and fulfillments that make a human life, we have not turned our attention to the needs of the soul. We have not considered what is required by the soul in order to be healthy. We have not studied the soul or sought to help it attain what is necessary to its evolution and its health. Because we have been five sensory, and there goes some daggone. Okay, I'm gonna raise my voice every time the frickin' what you call it pass, because it's like, hello, this is important right here. Let's start that sentence again. Because we have been five sensory, we have focused upon the body and the personality. We have developed an extensive knowledge of the physical apparatus that the soul assumes when it incarnates. We know of amino acids, neurotransmitters, chromosomes, and enzymes, but we do not know of the soul. We do not know how these physical functions serve the soul or are affected by it. We seek to cure dysfunctions of the body by controlling its environment at the molecular level. In other words, our approach to healing is based upon the perception of power as external. This type of healing can be helpful to the body, but it does not and cannot heal at the level of the soul. Consider that those who are trained in this way are accustomed to learning about life through the study of dead matter. They seek to learn of life through the study of carcasses and corpses, through the study of that which does not have spirit. How can they see spirit? Even as such minds look out into this vast galaxy, they cannot see life because they are convinced that the entire galaxy does not have life. So silly. That's so silly. So silly. Oh, so silly. Except as they see it and identify it. So the life forms and the brothers and sisters that we have on other galaxies remain hidden and will remain hidden until the basic premise that life is and permeates all that is, that there is only life, becomes the principle of what we call science. Then we will explore the physics of the soul. Then we will study life with life and not dead matter, and not try to breathe intelligence and purpose into it by taking apart in, by taking it apart in our laboratories, human forms and animal forms. This will be someday as a very primitive form of learning because there's no consciousness there. The body is the instrument of the soul. If the piano player is sick, does it help to repair his or her piano? What an instrument produces depends not only upon the state of the instrument, but also upon the musician. If the musician plays the blues, or soars with joy, the instrument follows. Even a tuned and polished instrument cannot soar with joy if the musician chooses sadness or grief. In the case of your soul and body, the instrument becomes the blues or soars with joy. If the musician becomes consumed with grief or anger or sadness, the instrument disintegrates. In some cases, a broken instrument can be repaired, but a repair at that level cannot cure what caused the breakdown. After several years of marriage to a willful partner, an acquaintance of mine found herself suffocating in the relationship, unable to express her deepest desires and her creativity. One winter morning, her husband's Jeep, which was parked on their steep driveway, broke loose and rolled over her, crushing her pelvis area. Oh my God. Sugary and chemicals, surgery rather, the chemicals healed her hips and eased the pain of her body. But can surgery mend the damage that is done when a woman's creativity, represented in this case by her pelvic area, her reproductive capability, the physical symbol of her feminine creativity, is crushed by the uncontrolled macho masculinity of her husband, represented in this case by a runaway Jeep? Can chemicals ease the pain of a suffering soul? Absolutely not. It is chance that one develops heart disease while another. Is it chance that one person develops heart disease while another develops cancer? Even through disease states have correlations to factors of diet, exercise, lifestyle, hereditary. These correlations cannot mask the fact that life for some people is a heartbreak, while others allow themselves to be consumed, to be eaten alive by the negative experiences of their lives. Can bypass surgery or chemotherapy heal that? Are the numerous ways that physical dysfunctions occur without meaning. Health for some people is a matter of the heart, for others, a matter of what they can digest or eliminate in the course of their lives. For others, a matter of the head, and for others, a matter of being able to hear or to see or to move through their lives flexibly, or to stand on their own, or literally to handle the experiences of their lives. These are the issues that must be addressed directly and openly and honestly in the creation of health. This does not mean that it is inappropriate to care for the body or to see a physician in times of illness, even though the physical is not as real, so to speak, as the non physical, it is nonetheless the lowest, densest projection of spiritual matter, and therefore it must be honored. It must be honored. The body needs rest, it needs care, but behind every aspect of the health or illness of the body is the energy of the soul. It is the health of the soul that is the true purpose of the human experience. Everything serves that. Wow. That is the conclusion of that chapter and of that section. We're about to go into a new section next week, people. That was chapter 12. Next week should be interesting. Would you like to come with me into the kitchen while I make myself some tea? Because I'm gonna give my body some extra herbs because I did sit in a cesspool for a couple of hours. I think I just gave myself a what they call it, oh my God, why can't I think of the word when they give you a shot? What do they call it? A vaccination. I just self-vaccinated, people. You wanna know how I did it? Do not take this as medical, do not take this as medical, what you call it. So it's interesting what happened with her creativity, right? Because that's what's going on. I mean, that's not what's going on with me. I don't have nobody that's, stifling my creativity. I have actually the opposite of that happening right now. But because there's so much of it, you know what I'm saying? I have to, I guess, I'm walking people and I'm carrying my plate, my telephone, and this tablet at the same time. So I just gonna have to bear with me till I get to the kitchen and I can put some stuff down. Make me some tea, baby. Make me some tea, baby. Tea is good. I'm gonna give my body some fluid, some hot fluid. But yeah, I don't have that right now. At all. But I do have a lot of, I guess, creativity, because that's your pelvis, right? That's like been kind of stuck. So I'm like loosening it up. It's quite interesting. But that's where I am, you know, with my body right now, loosening up my creativity in many ways. So this podcast is a great outlet for it, you know, and my voice is a great tool, you know. So I use it. I use it. And it is what it is, baby. That chicken. I ain't clean up at all. A little bit. I cleaned up from that chicken a little bit. Fried chicken is a messy thing. It is what it is. Yeah, I'm going to indulge in some Swiss tea right here. Purifying properties. This is Cersei, very, very powerful tea. I don't know if you can see it right, but very, very powerful tea right here. I need to get some more, because this is my last box, but my good old auntie, the one who, I mentioned a lot of things in this episode, and I kind of feel like I need to give updates. So that the family member who has crossed over before she crossed over, she healed tremendously, and we were able to rebuild or build, I should say, a good relationship with each other before she crossed over. And I ended up actually being responsible for her estate after she crossed over, and doing her arrangements and things of that sort. So that's a good thing to happen. I already told you the goodness that my son is experiencing now. And me, yes, I had some injuries to my legs, so that you can see um, from just what I just shared in that book. Like those injuries seem like uh, was the reflection of what my soul was experiencing, unfortunately. So I'm grateful to have the knowledge that I have, the consciousness that I have, so that I can loosen up and stretch and care and repair, and know that my repair is not just the physical. So yeah, I take supplements. Some of them are right here, like creatine, and things to actually rebuild muscles. But also have to do my internal care and my soul care. Um, and so, hmm, a lot of good things are happening. So I could say, this water is amazing. Well, I have some schoolwork to do, people. I would love to chit chat with you more, but Soulful Sundays have come to a completion this week. So I do have a new um, series called Let's Talk About It, which will be a live broadcast every Monday. So I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know the time, but it's gonna be after school, obviously, and after I get in and settle in and things of that sort. So, um, catch me tomorrow for Let's Talk About It. Thank you for tuning in to the SupaTea podcast show. Catch me next Sunday, 3 p.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time, as we dive deeper into Seed of the Soul. Ooh.